right, folks, this is Henry Kramer, 605 Chaser. We're coming up here live on our YouTube channel. I do want to wait a few moments for folks to join, but before I dive into the weather and while we wait for a few folks to join, I want to thank our sponsors, Fit Revolution, Refuel Nutrition, as well as Mission Nutrition. All three are located in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. They are great sponsors of helping us all stay active, stay healthy, and they give you some fuel to fuel your body. We also do have Prairie Pro SD, Prairie Pro General Contractors. They're located in up in the Watertown area. They primarily serve areas in the northeast part of South Dakota. Contact them today at prairieprosd.com. We'll give a few moments for people to join. Be right with you. Be just a minute as we get things rolling here. We'll wait for a few people to join here yet, and then we'll get things rolling. I do have a few things in the studio to get prepared for this. Lots of information to go over, so I appreciate you all joining. All right, be a moment here. We'll get things rolling. I'm just getting a few things prepared here. All right, folks, we are getting here. All right, so thank you all for joining. I appreciate it. We've got some viewers on here. Feel free to chat anytime. Our current weather warnings that we have, current watches and warnings map here, we are showing excessive heat warnings as well as heat advisories, as you can see in the right side here. John, if you're able to, if you have difficulty hearing me, feel free to chat. Having a little difficulty to confirm as I switch through some software and move some things around. All right, so we do have excessive heat warnings, heat advisories, fog advisories in the gray here. If I can get that pulled up here, there we go. Heat advisories. There we go. There was fog earlier this morning. Not so much now. So let's go ahead and dive into this map that we're taking a look at. Let's take a look at HRRR weather model and show you all what this exactly is. So this is a 5% risk. This is and I want to break that down for you. Awesome, thanks, John. So this is a 5% risk and a 2% risk here for the tornado risk. But, you know, thankfully, I'm going to break it down here for you. Just because it says 5%, that does not mean, hold on a second, folks. 1 second, folks. All right, folks, there we go. All right, so the 5% risk and the 2% risk. Now, those seem like they're really low, right? But actually, the 5% risk, especially in late August, is pretty significant. We've seen a 10% risk before, but I don't expect it to be today. 10% or even 5% is pretty darn significant. I can't stress it enough. This is going to be a pretty dangerous situation. Timing, we're going to get to all of that. Sioux Falls, obviously, you're under the gun. Areas of the cities, Twin Cities area. And let's go ahead and dive into some of the models, and we'll keep the tornado risk on there because we're going to show a few things here. But this was is the latest from the HRRR that was updated at 8 a.m. on timing. And what I want to point out to you folks is you'll see up in this area here, when I remove the marker, you'll be able to see the timing. This valid 8:26 2 p.m. Okay, so keep in mind that as we go through this particular model. There's other models we have to look at. There is obviously some development at 3 o'clock possibly in areas that would be Highway 212 north of Highway 14, so that'd be over in the Castlewood area. That rogue cell probably would be one around 3 p.m. that could be a hail dropper there. And as it begins to form a line up in Watertown area, look at that blow up. Let me get this moved over here. And I'll move out of the way a little so everybody can see this. As you can see, the rogue cells, this pushes it up farther north of I-90 and really blows up as 6 p.m. goes along. But don't worry, that's the precursor. Don't worry. Bad words. All right. We do have the storms then that develop on the back side of that in the later evening hours. And this is probably going to be the more significant one for areas that are along I-90. As you can see, there's 11 p.m. Right here, let me go ahead and push this back out. I want to point out this area of concern right here, because that area right there would be where I would suspect as it progresses along into this area here, it will end up having the greatest potential, in my opinion, to drop a tornado. Let's take a look at significant tornado parameters. HRRR is having a little bit of difficulty picking up on things with this. It pushes the significant tornado parameters farther south. So that is another reason that I anticipate to expect more of the southern region of this to have the tornado activity, even though they have this risk here. I think there's going to be more development down here. So they may shift this in the afternoon update. We'll have to see. Back to the composite reflective so you can see what the estimate is of the timing on this one. As you go through 11 p.m., this is when I would expect this to become more of a wind event. Just because it's a wind event doesn't mean that it's, oh, no big deal. Some of the winds can be those straight line winds where you're really pushing 80, 90 mile an hour winds as it pushes through towards this direction here. Sorry for the curvature there. If we put this into play a little bit further, when is it going to hit Sioux Falls? It's what people want to probably know. And I understand that, and I will get to that here. This right here would be a very big concern. This is going to be where you have that front pushing gust front, 80 mile an hour winds, easily possible there. That's a midnight, 1 a.m. This is one scenario. Of course, I want to caution everybody, because even though this is showing it's later in the day for Sioux Falls area and into the overnights, if a rogue cell gets broke through any kind of cap that's early on from the temperatures that are so warm aloft, it can just go nuts real fast. So stay weather aware, use reliable sources like National Weather Service, nws.gov, Weather Channel, those reliable sources. Of course, your local media outlets as well, which would be like KELOLAND, Dakota News Now, all of those that are trained meteorologists that can give you that information. I won't be able to do a live chase today, unfortunately, but I will be there in spirit. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at the NAM 3K to kind of do a comparison of this. Now, I do realize that this was updated at 2 a.m., so we're going to have some comparisons, NAM 3K, NAM 12K for comparison. So again, this one puts it late in the evening, around that midnight time frame. This is why weather radios are so important and vital, folks, because the sirens only do so much. If you're outside at midnight, great, but if you're not and you're sleeping, that's when you need those weather alerts to go off with a reliable device like that. All right, let's go ahead and give you the rest of the scenarios here, and I'll jump here to the 7-day forecast. So hail risks. As you can see, we do have a significant hail risk there. In the red, that is 30% risk, which is extremely high for this time of year. We also do have the categorical outlook from the SPC. This is showing the enhanced risk here. And then we do have the slight risk in the yellow and the marginal risk in the green. So quite a large swath, if you can see that a little bit better. Quite a huge swath of area that is under the gun. And then if we take a quick peek at this a little bit larger look, all the way up to Aberdeen, all the way down to areas like Yankton, all under the gun for that hail risk. So here's your 7-day forecast. As you can expect, we're going to cool things off a little bit. By Thursday, we're going to be having a hard time getting into the mid-70s. And then we'll try to warm back up. But what's lurking in the future for September and early next week is we're expecting to see fall-like temperatures, a blast of cool air. Now, I don't expect any snow anytime real soon, but I do see indications of I was looking at historical data, 1983 Thanksgiving week, there was a significant amount of snow that fell in the Sioux Falls area. Now, that doesn't mean that we're going to have it this year, but just some things to gnaw on and see how that goes. Also, around that same time frame was a significant amount of cooler temperatures. There was one record where there was some areas of South Dakota that with the wind chill had 80 below. So is that what we're in store for? Who knows? But tune in on Veterans Day this year for our typical winter outlook and our storm predictions of what the winter season for 24-25 may be. Let's go ahead and get back to the rest of our information here. So one moment. All right, so let's take a look at NAM 12K. There we go. And this was updated at 8 a.m., so we're going to have to backtrack a little bit on this one and go to the 4 a.m. or the 2 a.m. just for comparison purposes. So let's compare that. So based on these models, as you can see, things really don't get going based on NAM 12K, NAM 3K, and even parts of the HRRR shows more of the significant weather approaching in the late night hours. It all depends, like I said before, how quickly things can develop. Those weather models, they change almost every single time there's an update, especially in these uncertain situations. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at our HRRR model for the most unstable cape and bulk shear. First, let's do bulk shear. It's going to take a moment to pull that up. And bulk shear is an indication of where we have that vertical lift that's needed. If we get anything into 40 knots or above, that's when there's going to be those spin-ups. So as you can see, areas of concern around 5 p.m. would be over in the Brookings area as we approach some of those 40 knots area. So watch out around 5 p.m. Central Daylight Time. If we zoom back out, you can see areas of western parts of Minnesota. Now, just because we have the wind shear, that does not mean that we are going to have spin-ups out here. There's other factors such as surface-based sin, which would be your capping of the atmosphere. So while there may be that shear, the other elements, as well as surface-based cape, which is the energy needed to cause the atmosphere to be less stable. So those are the other things to factor in. All right, so we do have, as approaches here in the pier area, that would be initiation around 10 p.m. so 57 knots. That's quite a bit of bulk shear. And then as we go into the night, so there's going to be a small window according to this. So probably for central part of South Dakota, it's going to be sometime after 8 p.m. where storms really get fired up. Again, could change based on the weather updates, the weather models that get updated. Let's go ahead and take a look at the most unstable cape, or surface-based cape rather, and let's take a look at how much energy is in the atmosphere to fuel these puppies. All right, and I'm going to put the analyzer on here to show you Okay, 4,900 joules per kilogram is significant. Anything above 3,000, in my opinion. I mean, really, you can still end up having 2,000 is quite a bit of energy, but you just have to have other factors. So this is able to fuel those storms as they approach. There's 3 p.m. Lots of fueling into those storms as they the front quickly approaches. This would be where that front would be, and it would be pushing along this area here and dipping in the cooler, drier air. And let's go ahead and progress this along a little bit further here. So as you can see, 7 p.m. we start seeing less energy into the overnight hours because all those storms pushed off into our areas of like the Twin Cities and all the way over into Wisconsin. So this is going to be lasting quite some time. Let's go ahead and take a quick peek at one other factor. Surface-based SIN. So this is a measurement of capping, or a lid, whatever you want to call it. Lid, keep in mind that could possibly, let me see if I have any chats going on. I'm missing y'all. A lid would be, prime example would be, let's say you put a pot of hot water onto the stove and you get it boiling good and hot, and you put a lid on it, and then you know, obviously, depending on the temperature, it's going to keep on boiling and bubbling and trying to break that lid off. And if the cap in this situation is too significant, or the lid is too strong, it is not going to be able to tower, thus causing those storms to not build enough and just dwindle out. So let's go ahead and take a look at the capping in the atmosphere. Lots of cap right now this morning. So based on this, is negative 520 is extremely strong cap. And that is typical when we have the foggy morning and some of the high stratus clouds. All right. But as you can see throughout the day, right here, that cap dwindles away. And let's go to that 3 p.m. again. See, there's no cap really here. And if we take a look at composite reflective, hate how this takes so long for it to update. So 3 p.m. There's 3 p.m. Let's go back to surface-based SIN. Again, the cap is gone, thus having those storms develop right here. So that's some education for you folks. Let's go ahead and take a look at the rest of the factors. Spent a lot of time on HRRR, but let's dive into the wind factor. So the wind factor here, we have the dashed areas is what they call a significant hatched area. So all of this area has major threat for winds in excess of 80 mile an hour gusts, straight line winds, you know, obviously some tornado risk. We showed you that map. The hail risk is here. Let me get this measurement off. Areas like Sioux Falls, Brookings, Watertown, Redfield, Pierre, Winter, Chamberlain, anyone within this polygon that is outlined in black, you have a significant risk of having hail, or as Reed Timmer always says, gorilla hail. So we're talking golf ball size, even tennis ball size hail or larger in some isolated spots. So if these puppies can really tower up to 50 to even sometimes 55,000 kilo feet, that's going to enable for those significant hail parameters to show up. Do want to give you a brief rundown, real brief, of what we're expecting to have happen based on the 6 to 10 day outlook for temperatures, because I kind of gave you a heads up on what was happening. So we're going to expect 40% chance of temperatures being below normal for the 6 to 10 day outlook. Now, what is that 6 to 10 day outlook? That covers areas, so the 27th through the 5th of September. All right, and then the precipitation chances, whoops, went to the wrong one, sorry folks. Dry for much of that area. And then in the south, if I can move out of the way, down in Texas area, plenty of moisture going to be there. So those storms will be firing up in the Texas area and all that. And then in the 8 to 14, look at that. Continued cooler, drier air. Keep going back to that one. I guess my mind's on that today. So the 8 to 14 day outlook, cooler, drier air over much of the northern plains area. Let's go ahead and take a quick peek at that 7-day forecast one more time. There it is. So highlighting here Thursday, you know, we still have chance of some thunderstorms. It's going to be partly cloudy, but I don't think these thunderstorms on Thursday are going to be anything significant, unlike today's. So we'll have to see how this plays out. Again, SPC hail risks on the right, my right, and it is showing the red area, that 30% risk, and then the categorical outlook for today is showing the enhanced risk in the darker shade there, as well as slight risk in the yellow. So that is the latest information that we have. I'm going to try and give you another update later today. Just all depends on my work schedule, as I had hoped to go ahead and have additional storm chasing, live storm chasing, but unfortunately it just doesn't work that way today. So that's the latest information that we have. I appreciate you all joining. Please be sure to subscribe, share, and check out Fit Revolution Refuel or Mission Nutrition for all your nutritional needs. They've got shakes, they've got energy teas, and these are healthy teas. You know, they don't have all the sugary, fake sugar stuff. It's got the good healthy stuff. A little bit of background on me: I went from 252 pounds down to 165 pounds with the help from their coaches. I have been able to maintain that for a number of years already. And then check out PrairieProSD.com, Prairie Pro General Contractors, located in northeastern part of South Dakota. All right, folks, stay